back to the Smiths. I am Nadine, and this is husband.
Hello, Jason.
And we just want to say thank you so much for your faithfulness. It's almost a year, y'all. Yay!
Woo.
It's almost a year since we've been coming to you, and we may, let's check with the husband, have a giveaway within once we hit a year and 200 subscribers. What you say, sweetie?
Reluctantly sure.
Well, once we hit a year, and thank you, dear, and we are about 200 subscribers in, we do have a giveaway to the lucky person. We will talk about it further, well, in a later video. So today's video is all about
waiting and preparing for marriage. Today we're going to talk about some topics as to what you should do while you're waiting and preparing for marriage. Today's request was given by a faithful subscriber who asked the question, and so we're answering the question.
Yes.
Today's list will not be at all every possible thing that you can do. We will miss some things, I'm sure. There will be others that you may think of at home. But guess what? This is an interactive channel. You can get right down in the comments and let us know what we missed, all right? So I'm going to give you 3 things today. My wife will jump in with her own list, but I'm only going to talk about 3 things that I think are important in preparing for marriage. The first is getting yourself together. Getting yourself together in every Lee possible, right? Yes. Spiritually, educationally, psychologically, all of the Lees, all right? Get your mind together. You don't want to come into a relationship broken. You don't want to come into a relationship scarred, and for some people that's not easy. Some people have been really hurt based on past things that they've gone to, but take the time to make sure that you are whole.
Yes.
We say all the time relationships are 50-50. They're not. They are 50-50, but you want to come into it 100%, 100%.
Facts.
Not 75%
right.
with your current person and 25% is still with the last person. You don't want to do that.
No, you don't.
All right, so 100 is how you want to come in. Also, psychologically, we talked about in a previous video getting the counseling that you need, whatever it is that you've got to work through, some issues, getting yourself prepared. Spiritually, obviously, you want to make sure that you're in a right standing. And there's another Lee that I'm sure my wife is going to talk about, so I'll leave that last Lee alone, and I'll hand over to her. What do you got?
Wait, what Lee is that?
Well, what's the first thing on your list?
Well, the first thing on my list, I would say, is finance.
So financially, get it together.
Right. So finance. So I would say while waiting and preparing for marriage, you definitely need to be saving. If you have any kind of debt, outstanding debt, I think you should be paying for that. I think you need to be saving every penny, because marriage, can cause you a whole lot. And not everyone I know that cares about the big wedding. A lot of people like, things simple and very intimate, and then you have those like myself that like a big wedding. So I will say save. Make sure that you're working hard, saving towards your goal, like researching, figure out what it is that you would love to do, and just putting away that money. And like I said before, if you have any debts, pay them off, or even if you can't pay them off, just pay them down. So when you get into that planning stage, like, you don't have that over your shoulder, and you can put all your money towards marriage. That's one of my biggest thing. I guess I will say another thing is, this is like really big for me. Well, they all are. Let's just be real. Insecurities. Insecurities. I will say, I guess while you're waiting and preparing for marriage, that you should work on your insecurities. Insecurities is detriment, and once you bring that and project that on your spouse or the person that you're going to marry, It is really, really hard. That is really hard. And you as an individual have to make sure that you are whole. I think we spoke about that in our, I would say, a couple of videos ago when we talked with our counselor, Estella, when she spoke about that. And she said, as individual, we have to make sure that we are whole to get into a marriage or in any kinds of relationship. And I will say insecurity is a big thing, because if you're insecure, like your husband or to be cannot help you in that in a marriage. You have to make sure that you are whole going into that marriage. You have to make sure that you have been taking care of yourself and who you are, because if not, it's going to cause a lot of problem. It's going to cause a lot of things, because one of the things that I want to touch on is trust. If you have that insecurity about trust and you get married and you bring it into your marriage, that's not going to be good. So you will need to work on that. What would you say? You need to work on that, right, sweetie, in order to go into a marriage or in any kind of relationship, because the relationship, I mean, trust is so big, and that's a lot of people insecurity, because again, they have been burned, whether it's in relationship, family ships, just all kind of ships. We all know that trust is so big, right?
Yeah, I think trust is a key foundation to a relationship. And if you don't have a foundation in the building falls down, the building collapses. And so trust is a big one to have. I will say that no person likes to be on the opposing side of not being trusted. I'm not talking about someone who's given you reason not to be trusted.
Right.
We're talking about people who have not shown you any reason as not to trust them.
Right.
And so what you can do is really turn someone off who has been honest and done what you need them to do. And you come in and you're looking for things. If you're looking for something, you will find it.
Right.
It may not be correct. It may not be accurate, but you will find it. So be very careful about how you come in with trust.
Yeah.
I think going back to my first point, there's something else I wanted to say too, and getting it together to my fellow gentlemen is just make sure you have an idea for the direction of your life. You may not have to have it all together, although it's probably best.
Right.
Women naturally are incubators. We give them a seed, and 9 months later they deliver a baby.
Yes.
You give them a house, and they give you a home. Things of that nature is kind of something in, something out. And so if you have a plan, you can share it with your wife, and she'll help you to get to that point. Obviously, if she has a plan for her life, you help her as well. But women, this one, are really good at making sure whatever your destiny is, or whatever you've stated out of your mouth is what you're supposed to be doing. They're going to hold you accountable to whatever it is that you said you're going to be doing, even when you don't think that thing is what you need to be doing any longer.
Oh boy!
But we're not throwing any shade at anyone. They're great accountability partners. If nothing else, that is what a spouse is. So the second thing I would say is you need to be educated educationally on what you're about to get into. A lot of people say, I want to get married. I want to be married, and everyone's just ready to jump the broom, ready to tie the knot, ready to kiss the bride or kiss your husband, whatever the case is. And the truth of the matter is, you have to know what you're about to get into. That's part of why we do this channel. So if you want to get married and you haven't picked up a book, you haven't done any research, you haven't watched The Real with the Smiths.
Yes.
You're going into something not knowing what you're actually getting into. You're going into a marriage blind, and that's not something you want to do. You want to know all that you can know about marriage beforehand. Have you interviewed people that are married? Have you interviewed people of the opposite gender? If you're a man, interview a woman. Get her perspective on what it is to be married.
Yeah, that's good.
Do those things, because those things are going to help you to have an idea. Now, people are different. Marriages are different.
Yes.
But there are foundational things in a marriage, particularly if you're talking to, I would hope, people that have been successful in marriage. Although it may not be a bad idea to talk to people that are divorced either.
Right, exactly.
Get an idea why they decided to separate.
Right.
What drove them apart.
Yeah. So you don't have to do it.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. I think that's great. So that's my second point, is definitely educate yourself.
Yeah, and another thing for me, and I know if you know anything about me, and if you have been watching this channel for a while, I talk a lot about prayer.
Yes.
And you definitely need to be praying. You have to be in prayer and seeking God, because you're preparing for that. And seeking God, you know, I tell a lot of my friends and my niece, when I talk to them about marriage, that they should be really specific. Be specific to what you're asking God for. Like, I mean, something simple as saying, God, I want my husband to wear such and such. And that's simple, but you have to bring it to God, because if it's something that's very important to you, bring it to God. Pray about it. Be specific what you're asking God for with your husband. And I promise you, God will grant you that. And not only that, He will grant you things that you didn't even pray for. And you be like, oh my God, I didn't even pray for that. But thank you. You have granted that to me. So preparing by praying. And I am going to say, put that at number one on your list, where you need to be praying for all of these things. Like, God, what it is, like, I know that before I got married, I prayed for a lot of stuff. And the first year, I believe, I was able to reflect back and say, wow, thank you, God. You gave me what I prayed for in my husband. You really did. Like, no, like, I'm not fooling you. Like, God gave me what I asked for. And again, some of the things that God blessed me with, that my husband came with, I would say, like, I didn't even ask God for that, but because I have been praying and preparing, like, God saw it fit, or saw it fit to give that to me. So I say, pray, 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 and don't stop praying. Let that be, let that be the number one on your list.
Yeah, and I she's not lying. That is number one on her list. Every day, every night, everything.
No shame in my prayer game.
Prayer.
Well,
not a bad thing.
Not a bad thing.
But yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So my third and final thing that I would say, and this is not mandatory. This is highly recommended. The others, I would say, are mandatory. And the reason I say that this is not mandatory is going back to my wife's first point of financially.
Right.
If it makes more sense to continue to live with your parents prior to getting married, do it. Forget the stigma. Forget what the world says. Blah blah blah. Don't be a fool with your money.
Right.
Be smart. And if you can't afford to live on your own, which is my third recommendation, is live on your own before getting married, then continue to live with your parents.
Right.
But if you can, I highly recommend moving out prior to getting married. It will give you an opportunity to establish some independence for yourself, get yourself into certain rhythms, help you find yourself more and figure out what it is that you want to do, what your patterns are in a day, when you like to wake up, when you like to go to sleep. For the men, it will be helpful, and the ladies too, some DIY projects. You figure out how to do some things on your own, changing a light bulb, fixing a sink, I don't know, various things like that. You might learn how to cook in that time. It's very important. And it's not a female-only thing. I cook sometimes, she cooks most times. But, experimenting with that prior to poisoning your spouse with some food. If you poison yourself, it's all right. If you throw up on your own food, it's okay. But take that time to really learn how to cook and how to figure out how you will be. And then think about it sometimes to evaluate how it would be living with someone else. Like, if I do this, would they like this? If I leave this here, would they like this? Little things like that. So that's my third recommendation. But not mandatory.
Right. You know what I love and I heard while you were talking is singleness,
Hmm.
and I will say, enjoy, enjoy, enjoy,
Yeah.
enjoy. Do all that you can. Enjoy your singleness while you're waiting and preparing. Enjoy being single. Go
Yeah.
places. Do things that you have never done before. Enjoy sleeping in your bed all by
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah. The cover
Like,
is all for yourself.
yes. Enjoy that because once you get married, it's no longer you being single. It's now you and another person. So I just say enjoy that part of your life. I know it's rough right now and it is hard, and you're like, but I've been single for so long and I'm just ready to get married. But enjoy it. Trust me, enjoy it, and you're like, oh, Nadine, you're just saying it. No, enjoy it. I enjoyed being single and I did a lot. And even to this day, some days I would be like, oh my God, I want to be single
Yeah.
again. Not because I don't love my husband, I
It's
love
true.
him.
It's
But there
true.
are days when you just want to be
Yeah.
alone because I enjoy being alone, but you can. There are certain things that you cannot do when you're married, and when you're single, you can. So I would just say, just enjoy being single. And one last thing, and I won't touch on it too much, is sex.
Right.
I know it is hard being single, and not only being single, you probably have someone that you're courting. Listen, the Jamaican como. Like, and you have someone that you may be preparing to get married, and that is really, really hard for you. Listen, God can keep
Yeah.
you. He can keep you. And another thing, if you fall, don't stay there. Get back up, ask for forgiveness, and keep it moving. Keep it moving and don't dwell. Just don't keep going down that same road, all right? We know it is hard, but you can make it, and God can keep you whole while you're waiting to get married. So just be busy. Do everything that you need to do. Be busy because when you're busy, you don't really think about that stuff. So that's my thing to you. Be busy, waiting, and preparing,
Yeah.
right?
I agree
You
with
have
everything you
anything
say.
else?
I agree with everything you say. I mean, marriage is a beautiful thing, but
Yes, it is.
so can being single.
Yeah.
A lot of times people just want to rush into that marriage.
Yeah.
Enjoy your time being single. It is a great
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
It is a time for you to be selfish. It is a time
Yes.
for you to go after all of your own goals and all of that other
Yes.
stuff without ever having to worry about someone else. You can just get up and
Yeah.
go. Get up and do
Yeah.
whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Enjoy that time.
Yeah.
And when the time is
Yeah.
right, and when God says so,
Yeah.
then enjoy the marriage too.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Smiths. You are our family, and thank you for all the comments. Oh man, it blesses me when I read some of you guys' comments. It really do. Thank you, and we just want to say, don't forget to.
Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, God bless you.
Bye bye. So, what I would say is, it's definitely difficult as a male or as a recipient of someone
Right.
who would struggle with trust or even insecurity issues.
Right.
It's hurtful to a person who's trying to love someone else. You want the best for them, and you know that they're not what they see in themselves sometimes.
Wow.
For instance, someone who has low self-esteem or low self-worth. If that's an insecurity,
Wow.
and you're always like, but you're great, you're awesome, you're an amazing this, but no matter what you say to the person, and I'm glad you said what you said,
Thank you.
they will always, you're welcome, they will always be down on themselves, and you're like, and then that's going to start to feed into the relationship because then the recipient's going to feel like, it's like, it doesn't matter what I say.
Right.
It doesn't matter what I say to her, she always thinks low of herself.
Wow. Wow.
Or if it's a trust issue, it can get difficult And I know this is true for males. Like, it can drive them to be like, well, you don't trust me. Okay, well, then we'll give you something not to trust. Or, why is it always this? Or why is it always that? So yeah, I think that would be difficult. And one thing that was coming to me while you were talking about insecurities is a revelation, if you will. Insecurities inside you is that lack of security.
Yeah, wow.
And as long as it's inside of you, it doesn't matter what the other person does. So I'm glad you said that your mate cannot solve that insecurity. It's inside you, and I can't secure her, even though my job as a male is to make her feel secure as a female and be there providing coverage and all of those things. Until she can work out some of that stuff inside, I can help her meet that as a helpmeet.
Exactly.
And not just her, it could be flip for me too. I don't want this to seem like it's you we're talking about.
Right.
Until that person on the inside solves some of what's in them, you won't get that security. So that's what I would say about that.
Wow.
And then security and self-worth, they're one and the same. If you have insecurities, you can't struggle with self-worth. It's either going to be one or the other. You can't have both.
Yes.
Can't have one without the so yeah, just work that out and do what you have to. We talked in a previous episode about mental health, and I'm glad you said it, therapy. Go and get therapy. Go and seek therapy. And one thing I'll say now in this season of singleness, it can go back to what I was saying about getting yourself together. Find out what your love language is. Find out what you like for someone to do for you. Like, you really need to know and be in tune with yourself so that you can help the person you meet help you feel most loved. And I think that would also help decrease some of those insecurities that one could have, potentially.
Yeah. Wow. That was good. Yeah.